Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So tonight me and the brothers is talking about Masjid etiquette, right? Because I was kind of discussing about when I went to Jumu'ah and listened to the khutbah and how, I seen some new people who really didn't know Masjid etiquette, that wasn't the main thing that I was pointing out. What I was trying to point out was that Dr. Ahmed, the Khatib, he was using Arabic words that I know that they didn't understand. They was fairly new. Like I said, I got there early before them. And the way they was shaking up gang signs and they sat down, and then when they seen a couple of people greeting the masjid, well, at least one of them just looked at a little confused. Like, I don't know if he ever been in a masjid before. I don't know. But it's like they don't know what people is doing. That's just how I seen. And a couple of them, because the way they was looking like what they doing. So when it comes to masjid etiquettes, I want to say this. By us having this discussion, and they asked me for dalil for something, and I'm going to show the dalil. I got the, and we going to use Sahih Muslim. So I got Sahih Muslim right here with the explanation. So I'm going to give y'all the dalil for what y'all asked for in just a second. But I want to say this. Our discussion, man, is making me think of this hadith. And I always think of it, where the Rasul said we're going to follow the kuffar inch by inch, to the point that if they go into a hole of a lizard, we're going to go into a hole of a lizard. Right? Our religion is slow. Our way that we practice our religion is slowly going to get like theirs. So I didn't have like a real big church going family, like every Sunday or none of that. Something had to happen. Somebody died, somebody was sick, somebody lost their job. So then they would start going to church. So sometimes we had to go. But I accepted Islam at the age of 13. So that was the end of that church stuff for me. Right? Alhamdulillah. But what I seen was the women all wore dresses that came below their ankles. They wore the big hats or something to cover their hair up. The men had on their suits and hats, or some nice dress pants, a sweater with a shirt under it, a little collared shirt up under it, hard bottom shoes, right? But then, not me going to church, but watching as I entered high school, some of the girls who had like a little bad reputation, by the time they was getting ready to graduate, they would go to the clubs on Friday, go to the club on Saturday, and then get up and go to church on Sunday because they wanted to get them a good guy. We getting ready to graduate. We finna get ready to leave. We need to start looking for a good man. All this one night stands and waking up next to somebody drunk and we don't know what we've done. We want us a church guy. So they started going to church to get good men. Now, and I'm saying this isn't just me guessing. I'm hearing them saying this out of their mouth. It actually became a thing. But for them to go to church and to get this good guy, they're not church people. So they don't have church etiquettes. They're not Bible readers. They going to the church for the same reason they went to the club. So how you think they dress when they go to church? They dress like they trying to get a man. And this isn't no knock to women, but some women don't know how to get a man off of who they are. So they try to get a man by what I heard a woman refer to as their assets, their body parts, right? How they dressed, how loose they act, or how seductive they act, how they can draw a man in with their whims, attract him through his desires. But when it comes to their brains or how they carry themselves, what type of person they are, they don't feel like they can get a man based off of that. And this is the reason why. Now I'm telling y'all from a man, I don't care what women say, they think they know men. But they don't. Because they don't listen to nobody but each other. Men tell you the truth, and women will say, oh, they just trying to tear me down. They just trying to stop me from being great. But if you lie to them, they fall head over heels for you. What happens is, once the dude get in and start having sex with them, and be like, all right, the sex is cool. Now these other little things we can work on. But then once they get past what you seduced them with, they don't like who you are as a person. They don't like who you are as a person. It might be some cool stuff about you, like y'all might be able to work together and get a nice home. You know, you may be real clean. You may stay in a home and don't go out. But who you are as a person, you just not likable to some people. So they deal with other people. But because women don't be trying to get men based off of who they are. They be trying to get men off what they think they look like and how good they think their private parts are. That might get him to come be around you. That might keep him around you, but that's not going to make him like you. That's not going to make him like you. Okay? So they going to the church trying to attract people with little bitty clothes and fluffed up body parts and smells and perfumes. So once now these little church dudes who ain't from the streets, who don't know nothing, thinking that they messing with these girls, and now they've got them a goofy that they can use. I'm not saying they goofy, but this was the mentality. So then now you got the dudes, they starting to play the church game to get the good girls. Oh man, there's some virgins in there. That's what a virgins is. She gonna go to college. She wanna be something. This girl ain't gonna do nothing but go over whoever else got the drinks and the blunts. So now they not church people either. So now they in the church dressed like street people. And then you could see slowly but surely the church turned into something else. The church and church people turned into something else. Even when you look today and you starting to get these pastors, ex-drug dealers with all this juries and Benzes and all this type of stuff, messing with all the women in the church. I look at that stuff and I study that stuff because we gonna follow them. We gonna follow them. Over the years, I started to see this used to be a thing. Keep in mind, I've been Muslim since I was 13. By the time I was around 18 years old, you know what the saying used to be from these women who failed at keeping the church people? Well, I need me a Muslim man. The Muslim men, they know how to keep women. I heard in Islam, they have to do everything for their woman. So now the same game they played with the church, they play it with the Muslims. So now you have some women who showing up to the Masjid looking for a husband. They go to the Masjid, they get in the ranks, then they get married, and then their husband be like, come on baby, let's go to the Masjid. Now they know some hadiths. Oh, there ain't no obligation for the woman to go to no masjid. I want to stay in the house. They plan. Now, I'm not saying every woman. Right? But see, this is why when that relationship don't work out, all that Islam disappear. And then you know what they say? All men the same. Muslim men ain't no different. Young men ain't no different. Old men ain't no different. But the problem is this. The little issue that you got going on with you that make men not want to stay with you, you're not fixing it. So young men, you're going to get the same behavior from young men, old men, Christian men, Muslim men. Because once they get behind that closed door, they see the exact same thing and be like, I'm out of here. So then you also have the Muslim brothers. Some of them going to the Masjid, trying to get them a sister. So your Masjid etiquettes is being lost. And trust me, I'm talking about people that came and was like, hey, like wallahi, man, I'm talking to this sister, man, cause they had like, where they had the dating sites, for the kuffar, christianmingle.com type sites. You had Muslim men getting on these dating sites, and guess what they was finding? Muslim women on them, even if it's christianmingle.com. So now, brothers done met some sisters somewhere else, and wallahi, hey, oh man, let's all get together, man. Gas up some, get about 3-4 whips, and go to the masjid up there, man. The sister said there's about 3-4 other sisters there. Man, let's start driving up there to go to the masjid. But they going for sisters, see? The same game that they play when they start trying to go to the church to get them a good woman. But see, just like with them sisters, that thing that you didn't fix about you, that you had to deal with women doing certain things to you, now you want to say all this and about certain women? No, you keep getting the same results because you're not fixing those couple of things that need to be worked on in you. But then they come to the masjid and they play the same game that they play with the church. So the masjid etiquettes is starting to be lost, man. And when I go in a masjid, it don't even look like I'm in when I here. And then like it don't even look like you in a masjid. I remember a time when at least the foreigners, they would at least, even the African Americans, they would at least roll their pants up in an attempt to have them above their ankles. Now they won't even do that. Nobody pants above their ankles. I ain't gonna say how the thobe and the pants above the ankles and different things here started with the African Americans and the person who got everybody wanting to read books and listen to lectures and watching people on YouTube, because before a certain person was here, wallahi, nobody was doing it. Nobody was interested in it. Nobody had no Bukhari, no tafsirs, no nothing. Nobody was meeting and trying to do classes on Sundays. Nobody. Until a particular individual started introducing everybody to this thing. To where the point where everybody was in thobes. Not everybody had their pants above their ankles, but a few people did. Some people was like, man, I don't want my pants above my ankles. Not just one, but several people. I know my pants should be above my ankle, but I don't want to do it because that one brother, I don't want that one brother to feel like he's the one who started it. Like, wasn't nobody seeking no knowledge or nothing. You know what I'm saying? This brother had people like the live classes on the weekend, even at Germantown Masjid, Salafi Radio, SunniRadio.com. Nobody was familiar with none of it as far as the African Americans. But once everybody started getting hip, the masjid started changing. Actual brotherhood started forming to the point where we was getting together at somebody's house having barbecues. We started having barbecues and picnics and stuff at the masjid, reserving the park. All of us going out there at the park, letting our kids play. People out there in their throws, sisters starting to cover up better instead of just tight pants and something over their head. Tight shirts. It started changing. But then that brother stopped coming around. And once he stopped coming around, slowly but surely, all of that started disappearing with these brothers. So like like this masjid, I don't go to it. I go to it because, one of my homies go there. So I go up there every once in a while to check him out and to listen to the Qutbah because Dr. Ahmed, I like him. You know what I'm saying? I've been knowing Dr. Ahmed close to 20 years. About 19 years since 2006. So, but when I go in a masjid, man, like I said, it don't even look like a masjid. Like you don't even feel like you're around Muslims. Like even Ahmed, when we was everybody was wearing thobes and the sisters started cleaning up the way that they was their covering. You know what I'm saying? Even Dr. Ahmed, who the Khatib, he even started getting fresh. He don't even do it no more. He don't have his pants above his ankles no more. Nothing. People being there in tight sweatpants. And like I say, I get there early. I get there before they even open up the doors. So I'm saying I see everybody as they coming in. And it ain't like I'm looking at this during the Qutbah. I'm there early. So just seeing how the masjid etiquette is lost, man, it's scaring me because to me, we slowly but surely getting like the church. And there's no classes. There's nobody around to get people to come and sit down and study and listen to live classes. Once that person left, man, all that disappeared. And he left because it was people who just kept bucking and they just kept causing fitna. The reason why we can't learn anything because he around, we felt like every time he around, we feel like we not Muslims. So, you know what I'm saying? He moved around. He ain't need a fitna. Now they worse than ever. Like all that disappeared. And where Dr. Ahmed, he's an Arab, but Dr. Ahmed ain't never studied Islam a day in his life. He was part of the Tablighi Jamaat, right? That man don't study no Islam. He got the story of the prophets. So what he'll do is, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, he my man. I like him. He'll read something from the story of the prophets and then come talk about it during Jummah. So like sometimes when I be hearing his Qutbahs, they be recycled. Like I've heard him talk about this before. You know what I'm saying? But when you knew and you don't know anything, it's everything. Because he is talking about Islam, but you have absolutely not one real educator. You see what I'm saying? Like to the point where he gone, when he go overseas or if he got something going on where he can't come get a Qutbahs, somebody have to read from a book of Qutbahs in Arabic, either on their phone or they get a book. And they had to stand up there and read the book in Arabic in a masjid where can't nobody understand it. They don't even have nobody who can get a kutbar. You know what I'm saying? But they fulfilling the obligations. So, and I'm not knocking them, man, because they doing what they can. But it's just sad, and that's why me comparing that to the church, because you got a lot of people that's preachers and they getting up there in the church, but they ain't never officially studied no Christianity. They might have went to Bible studies at that church as a kid, or they set up and just feel like they know their Bible, and they just get up there reading and talking from their own interpretation. You starting to have that in the Muslim masjid. You got people who people think they've studied and this and that, and they run in a masjid, but let them have to get around some people who officially study. They won't go around them. They have every excuse in the world and every label to not work with them. But if you beneath them, they gonna be all on your top. If you knew enough where you don't know nothing, but like there's no education, there's no nothing. And like I said, even the foreigners, nobody with their pants above their ankles, tight sweatpants, wife beaters, and when you know, and like you got surah number 7, ayat number 31, where Allah Azza wa Jal says, adorn yourself when you go to every masjid. When you go to the masjid for Jumu'ah, especially Jumu'ah and the Eids, Daki. So I kind of forgot what I was saying, but yeah. So you gotta adorn yourself in every masjid. When you go to Jumu'ah and especially the Eids for prayer, you're supposed to wear your best clothing or proper clothing, because you finna go sit in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. Going to Jumu'ah service, you have to understand, even when you listening to the khutbah, you're in salah. You in salah. You need to dress like you in salah. Now, of course, you're going to have your people who say, did wearing stuff like this don't mean you Muslim and this and that. But we talking about the feeling. You don't even feel like you in a brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, people shaking up gang signs. Nobody, like I'm sitting up saying, and even with me being on the back of the wall, now perhaps some of the people who did show up could have went to the other side, and where we usually be, and did 2 rakats and then came in where we was. Alhamdulillah, if they did, alhamdulillah. But then of course you have some people who feel, and just from like back in the day on this channel, when we was talking about this years ago, when I was explaining to some people, you go somewhere and some people think you're not supposed to do it. And a person got in the comments and lightweight got japped on me about you not supposed to do 2 rakats to greet the masjid when the khutbah is going. But that's because they wasn't familiar with the hadith where the Rasul was giving the khutbah, and the man came up and he said to him, did you do the 2 rakats to greet the masjid? The man said no. He told him, do the 2 rakats. So the Rasul stopped the khutbah to address him and tell him to do the 2 rakats. But that's neither here nor there. So one of the brothers wanted some dalil about praying in wife beaters. Okay? Of course, everybody not going to agree with it, because you have scholars who say one thing, well, madhab scholars who say one thing, and then you have people who agree with them. But we're going to go with the hadith. And then they don't use this hadith as dalil. They use something else. But with this particular hadith, and I didn't want that to turn into a rant, but I also wanted to be careful because I don't want to offend people. So I'm talking, but I'm not saying the stuff that I really want to say. But some of the masjid etiquettes, man, Dakik. So like, masjid etiquette is just being lost. And like I'm saying, I can't speak for everywhere. But like I said, I seen how it was. Then when I seen when a particular brother came to the city, right? He was already had his pants above his ankles cut, even to the point where people was like, man, I want to be the first one to do that. But he had been doing it for years. Got people into wanting to study and seek knowledge. They wasn't even wanting to do it. And once he stopped coming around, I see the decline. All of them, like all the people was there, they all into it. Don't none of them like each other no more. They, or you know, they show fake love. They got fake friendships. They use each other. Some of them done left Islam. Some of the sisters, some of the brothers. Some of them done went back to the streets, drug dealing and gang banging. I'm telling you, I saw the change. And now I see, like, even within the foreigners. They just treat Jumar like it's not even Salat. You know, but it's just unfortunate, man. And like I said, in my head, I think of that hadith and I be like, this turning into like the church, man. It's turning into like the church. And once the church started getting loose on their standards, the church just declined. And I'm just seeing a decline. Can you go there and listen to a khutbah and pray? Yeah. You might even hear something, you'd be like, man, alhamdulillah, you know, that was like that. That was good. But that's the extent of it. And even with the khatib sitting up saying, he made me crack up, man. That's why I really had to sit in the back. Especially when he giving a khutbah. When I go there, I have to sit in the back. But he could see me. But we've been like this for about 15 years. Dude be making me laugh, man. I had to sit back and be like this. That brother make me laugh. And what he was saying was, like I said, his English bad, but I've been listening to him. I've been knowing him since 2006, right? The man said, you know, you got to be Muslim all the time. Even when you outside of here. You can't just come in here for Jumar thinking you're going to get all your Islam and get everything you're supposed to know by listening to a khutbah. He said, well, people going to give you a nickname and call you Mr. Friday. That's his way of trying to say they calling you a Jumar Muslim. They give you a nickname like Mr. Friday because you only come around to be Muslim on Fridays. And he said Mr. Friday and Mr. Ramadan, right? Man, he had me cracking up, but that's it, because he's seeing it too. Like even a change in him, like he don't keep his pants above his ankles no more. He don't even stand up for the khutbah no more. My man sit down on the minbar the whole khutbah or in a chair. And it could be something going on where he got older, but he ain't really that old. He could have some type of medical thing, but man, he sit down for the whole khutbah. And if it's a medical thing, man, may Allah bless him with Shifa. I haven't talked to him, man, because I be stabbing out of there. But he see the change, you know. And that's really all some people get when they go there and listen to him on Jumar, man. It's just unfortunate. So what the brother asked me about the wife beaters, let me give y'all the deal, man, because I've been just ranting too long, right? So look at this hadith right here. I got to give y'all the first one first, right? So look, a man called out to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, can any of us pray wearing one garment? Right? So this was almost like a diss at this particular time. And this is once again where I'm going to go into some of the legislations where people call this Arab stuff because they don't know the legislations. This is one garment. Okay? It's one garment. Okay? So he said, can any of us pray wearing one garment? The prophet answered, does every one of you have two garments? So like where you can have shirt and pants, but people was poor. So some people just had like an izar and maybe not like a nice enough shirt, or they had like an izar that kind of wrapped around where this shoulder is out. It's enough where they can come over this and they come down enough below their knees. So this is the type of clothes that they had. So when they started to get money and design clothes to pray in, one garment. You got your thobes where they protect. If you in this, like if you a man, you got on some tight pants, a woman may be able to, like they say about gray sweatpants, they may be able to see your private parts. But see, these, they flare out. This right here is so that your body doesn't show. But some people don't understand that and call it Arab stuff because they don't understand legislation and they don't know enough hadiths and about the Quran ayats about the type of stuff you should pray in. So we come to the next one. So Allah's messenger, this is the next hadith. Allah's messenger said though, none of you Muslim men, none of you Muslim men should pray wearing anything with the shoulders not being covered up. One garment, two garments. When you got you some clothes on and you praying, your shoulders have to be covered up. So when you wear a wife beater, your shoulders is out. Okay? So this is the hadith. Although the Hanafis, the Malikis, and the Shafi'i madhab says this is just something that's recommended, but they totally exclude this hadith as dalil. Okay, they use something else. And then some opinions which kind of may not fit the context. In Hanbali fiqh, if you're not poor and you have something, there's two opinions that's from him. One, it invalidates your prayer if your shoulders is out, because this is a commandment from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, flat out, plain and clear. None of you, if you praying in a single garment, if you praying in two garments, you can't pray with your shoulders out. One shoulder or two shoulders. And then you have people who say, oh, well, when you try to make Hajj, when you go to make Hajj, you have one shoulder out. Not when you're praying. They cover up the other shoulder when they make salat. At least they should. Okay? So, that's one hadith, right? So then it comes to the another hadith where the Rasul wife is saying, I saw Allah's messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Well, this is from the father, right? Umar ibn Abi Salama, right? Reported to him, I saw Allah's messenger praying in Salama home, his wife, right? Wearing one garment, tying it up and placing it so that his shoulders was covered up. Now generally we know when Rasul was praying in the home and somebody seeing him, this is a sunnah prayer. Because he prayed congregation before prayers in the Masjid. So even with the fact that he's doing this for a sunnah prayer, that shows the importance of making sure your shoulders is covered up while you're praying. But now you can have people who are coming to Masjid because some people say this, some people say that, but they don't really know the rulings. They don't know the hadiths. They don't understand fiqh. They don't even look at the fiqh of the madhabs and where this particular opinion may come from. And then it might say, well, the majority of scholars say this and that, but that just might mean these three madhabs agree and one doesn't. But this hadith isn't even used. They're using something else that was said, which I ain't gonna get into the hadith, but when you look at the context, you could be like, because I'll just say this. It was a situation where the man had one garment, but his shoulders was covered. And the Rasul was asking him about it. So then he said to him, because the guy was like, what's wrong with it? Is it too thin? Is it too snug? Is it hugging my body? So the Rasul was like, no. But like if you do have a garment and it be a little thin, tie it up around the waist part to keep it from falling off with your private parts. That don't mean that you don't have something that's covering up your shoulders, because you have to understand from below. So you're gonna have your two rulings from the navel. So like when you look at it, say from the navel to the knees, or some translations may say below the navel and the knees is nudity. So if it say tied around your waist, don't that means from the navel to below the aura is still showing? So that's still some forms of the nudity going all the way around, even to the back. So, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to upset nobody. So, you look at, he gave the commandment. Don't pray with your shoulders showing. Second, they see him doing a sunnah prayer in his wife's house. And he's making sure that his shoulders is not out. Right? So then it's a couple of more showing where other people were saying the same thing about where they see him, and he made sure that he had his shoulders covered. So with a little bit of the taqreed, right? I don't even want to do that. It just basically showed why some of the scholars had difference of opinion. So me, I'm going to say me, I'm not going to pray with my shoulders out. Especially when you go and start to look at the Sahaba and how they dealt with modesty. And then the way that when you look at the tafsirs of Quran ayats like 7, ayat number 30, Surah 7, ayat number 31, where it says, adorn yourself, wear fine clothing when you go to the Masjid. Even if you go in there to eat and drink, even if you go in there for a meeting or just to meet the brothers. But definitely for prayer, Jumu'ah, and the Eids, right? Not only just some clothes that look good, clothes that keeps your prayer. You standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. So when it comes to some of the Masjid etiquettes, this be gone. Like my guy, the one who married to my cousin, he gonna have on a throw, and he gonna have his pants above his ankles. You know what I'm saying? Even if he may not 100%, I don't even know if he know all the rulings on the pants above the ankles. He ain't got to hear all that. Hey, Sasuna, pants supposed to be above the ankles. I'm on it. It ain't no like everybody else. Oh, that's Arab stuff. Oh, there's a difference of opinion. Nah, if it's a sunnah, he own it. You ain't even got to tell him Allah ain't gonna speak to the person who wear their pants a certain way. He ain't got to hear all that. This what it is. This what I'm doing. And I applaud him for that. But it might be like me and him. And like I said, one of the older brothers, man, one of the foreigners, the one who lead the salat. Everybody else though, we talking about the whole masjid. Like even like masjid etiquettes. I do sit in the back for reasons, but like people just be scattered around the whole masjid. it might not even be a single row where people just sitting in a row. It might be like one person in the front row, then away from him it might be another person, but he far away from him, then behind him it might be one person, then behind him over to the right it might be one person, then people just on the wall scattered all around. even man, I ain't gonna go into that, but you know, it's just the etiquette is being lost. And then like I say, me seeing when a particular brother was around and not even forcing nothing, not saying this is what y'all need to do, this is just what he was doing, and didn't care what they was doing. And then some people took to it, start being around him, they started studying, and then they started coming to the masjid like, hey, because basically with a chip on their shoulder, y'all had me fooled. Now I'm in these books, now I'm listening to these live classes, now I'm listening to these lectures, y'all fooled me. Now, but their whole thing is looking at him, oh man, you been around dude. And I just be sitting there like this. But then that person changed. Somebody see him change. Now he come in. Now he coming around. Now he studying. Now he listening to classes. Now he's changing how he dress. Now, slowly but surely, the majority is starting to be like that. Now real brotherhood is forming. Now people getting together, going over somebody's house to listen to classes, to listen to lectures. Talking about let's drive to Chicago, and everybody, they was like, let's all get a set of Sahih Bukhari, and then we take one and everybody read it for that month, and then we discuss it. Then the next month we read the next one. Of course it never happened. And I wasn't going to push no buttons. And hey man, yeah, because I already had everything that they be talking about getting. You know what I'm saying? I already had scholars and classes and books, and hey, y'all do alhamdulillah. I'll see y'all when y'all get here. Or not. Or not. But just to see the decline, man, and then me like sitting up in there. Every time I go to Juma over there, I be feeling like I need to do something. Like, man, you need to just go ahead and open up the masjid to everybody. And then something happened where Allah showed me like, nope. Nope. You know what I'm saying? Something be going on with them where you just be like, nope, we not gonna do that. I ain't got time for this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for this. But man, be mindful of y'all masjid etiquette, brothers and sisters, man, and try to pray, and you know, man, whatever you, I don't even want to say wear whatever you want to, man. Just be mindful, man, that you standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, and be mindful that when the khutbah is going on, you are in salah. It is a prayer. It is worship. You know what I'm saying? You need to carry yourself like you standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. And see, like back in the day, certain things I used to say, because like I said, when the one brother came around, I was probably, he didn't have to transform me per se, because I was already me. You understand? So like I'm gonna see things a certain type of way. Like me, since like maybe 2010, so for about 15 years, coming around 2010, maybe 2011, I don't even show no skin. I don't even go outside in short sleeve shirts. No shorts. You ain't gonna see me in no short sleeve shirt and basketball shorts. None of that. I don't show no skin. Like, even with my pants above my ankles and up to my shin, or where they tied up, I'm still gonna have some sock or something pulled all the way up, some dress socks or something. I don't show no skin. My hands and my face is all you gonna see of me. Now, sometimes, like if I may be cutting grass or something, and I'm still gonna have on some sweatpants, but I'm gonna have on some real big sweatpants, but they cut off at my shin. And then I have my socks pulled up. But I might have on like a short sleeve shirt, but I usually cut my grass like right after Fajr. Like sometimes I'm cutting my grass, wallahi. I be cutting my grass while it's still dark outside. Wallahi, sometimes just to avoid like being seen, wallahi. See, I even got a push more that don't have no engine, so it's quiet. Okay? It don't even have an engine. Those old-fashioned ones with the handles and the 2 wheels, or you can get it with 4 wheels and the sharp blade. So sometimes when I get off work, I get home at midnight. Now I come in and throw on my gym shoes, wallahi, and I go outside and cut my grass. But I might have on a short sleeve shirt, or right after Fajr. So like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning while it's dark and the sun's still coming up, I be cutting my grass. Now, if I go out there and if I don't do it early in the morning, when I go out there, no matter how hot it is, I still got on a long sleeve shirt. I don't even show no skin. Not for, you know what I'm saying? So just like how the sisters, they show their hands and their face, that's all I show. Because when you look at the etiquettes and you look at the deen and look at more hadiths and look at how the Salaf carried themselves, they didn't show no skin. Once they got to the money where they could buy proper clothing, they didn't show no skin. Just like the sisters. Hands, face. They dress where their wife was going to see them. Just like the women dress where only their husband going to see them. That's for both of us. But that's just something that's lost. So I'm going to view it a certain type of way. I'm not going to be playing in no wife beater, man. You know what I'm saying? So like back in the day, when the brother was around, and like I would be around, and you know, sometimes I would say to some people, if a girl asked you, if some girl you was interested in that wanted you to, you know, Muslim sister, and she has her wali or her wakil, and he wants to chaperone a date for y'all, would you wear what you got on, what you just came to Jumu'ah in? Would you wear that to that date with that sister and her wali? No. If it was a party, some of these brothers, because they still go to parties and Valentine's Day stuff and, you know, birthday parties and different things. And I'm not knocking them, I'm not judging them, but they'll go to some birthday party, some Valentine's Day party, some Juneteenth party, and they'll be fresh. They'll be fresher for that than they will to come do for Jumu'ah. You finna come praise Allah in Allah's house, and you sitting up looking like you just got through cutting grass. Super tight wife beater and some super tight sweatpants or some tight basketball shorts. You know what I'm saying? Some of them still go out and still go to the club. You're going to go out to the club and put jewelry on and everything else, but then come to Jumu'ah looking like you don't even feel like coming. But what do Allah say in the Quran in Ayah 7 number 31? You violating a command from Allah, and then you violating how the Rasul practiced it. You violating all that. So the second position that Imam Ahmed had was, it doesn't invalidate the prayer, but you are sinful. You're going to acquire some sin for praying with your shoulders out. And then, of course, you're going to have your people, oh, it ain't no big deal. Why do it even matter? These are people that you need to worry about, because they don't care enough about what Islam says to obey anything. If it's something that they like, they'll take it. Hey, I like this part of Islam. Just like how I say how the people of the book used to be. They'd take part of the book. Yeah, I accept this. But this part, I'm going to throw it behind my back. Dakik. Right? So, I take this part of the book. But this part, I'm going to throw that behind my back. Then you got Muslims, man, doing the same thing. Oh, this aspect of Islam, see, yeah, I like this. Because this fits in with my desires. But the rest of that stuff, I'm going to throw it behind my back. When Allah tells us in the Quran, don't be that way. You know what I'm saying? Man, and not saying you got to be overly fresh when you come to Jumu'ah. But come on, man. It's a lot. You coming to worship Allah. You trying to get into Jannah. Some of you individuals, man, to get fresher than that, to go sit up at some club and get drunk and high, trying to attract some woman, man. Big jewelry's on and all type of stuff, man. Out there trying to look like an NBA player or a rapper. You know? But then come to Jumu'ah dressed like I ain't even feel like getting up. Like dressed like it's a laundry day. Come on, man. What are we doing? The Masjid etiquette is being lost, man. So, you know, that was the dawn for Fajr, man. So let me get up out of here, man. You know, my bad, man. I ain't mean to keep it that long, you know, holding y'all. But anyway, man, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Hey, D's after Fajr, I'm going to call you, man. I'm going to try to set up some for later today. And we'll talk about it after Fajr. Give me about what it is. 3:40. I hit you up around like maybe 4:20. About 4:20. We'll chop it up. I'll text you before I call. Yeah, cause you know how the Salaf used to say you might be amongst the ones that go to sleep after Fajr. That's how they used to sneak diss each other. You must be one of those ones who go to sleep after Fajr. Anyway, man, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.